What word should never be used in a debate with atheists? Stay tuned to find out. It's yet another video in the Evidential University series on debating atheists and, let's be honest, losing miserably to atheists. Because the good pastor here doesn't seem to understand how debates work, and I find that to be very, very common among the religious. They say, "I'm winning debates." No, you're just rationalizing your already existing beliefs to yourself. No one else is impressed. So let's watch Evidential U fail once again to even understand how the debate process works as we take a look at part 6 of How to Debate an Atheist.
When you debate an atheist, right? Or you come across the atheist brigade, never ever argue your case by using the word faith. Say according to faith, by faith. No.
I'll agree with that, but only if you're not actually using faith, which applies to pretty much no theist anywhere. A better way to deal with this is to stop having faith. Look at your beliefs rationally. Don't lie about not having faith. Stop having faith completely. But if you do that, you're also going to stop having any religious beliefs at all because they're not justifiable via sound logic, reason, or skepticism.
The guy is using logic. You are using faith. No. He's using his logic, sometimes twisted logic, but you might also use logic.
Then, if it's twisted logic, by all means, point that out. Challenge his ideas just as he's challenging yours. But make sure you're addressing his logic through logic, not through faith, not through feelings. Logic and reasoning and critical evaluation can only be legitimately challenged with more logic and reasoning and critical evaluation. Your feelings don't matter.
A Christian was asked, what is spirituality? I mean, if you say what is spirituality, what it is, and the religion said, well, by faith. No.
I think spirituality is total nonsense, personally. Now, the dictionary defines it as the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. And we have no reason to think that there's any such thing as a human spirit or soul. Therefore, spirituality, like religion, is totally irrational garbage. Come on back when you can prove that any of these things are actually real.
What is spirituality? Very simple. You can answer this question different ways. To me, using basic definition of spirituality, it is simply my way of communicating with God, my way of knowing God, and my way of trying to understand what God has planned for me, my way of communing with God.
Which would be great if you had any evidence that God existed, but you don't, and that's the thing. So if we just substitute other things for which no evidence exists, it shows you just how ridiculous the whole assertion is. It's how you understand what Santa Claus has planned for you. It's how you communicate with the Easter Bunny. It's how you come to know leprechauns or unicorns or magical universe-creating pixies. The whole idea is absurd on its face, and since this series of videos is about supposedly defeating the atheist brigade, you can't pretend that they're going to take any of your emotionally comforting drivel seriously. You actually have to do this on their terms. And if you can't do that, you've lost before you even begin.
Because there are so many ways to define spirituality, right? It's not you don't allow the atheists to set the rules and then enforce the rules.
But you just admitted that there are no rules. There are lots of ways to look at spirituality, lots of ways to define spirituality. Now you can certainly believe what you want to believe, but you can't insist that your way of believing is true without being able to back it up. And if you want to win against the atheist brigade, you're going to have to do it with logic, reason, and evidence. You're going to have to show that they're wrong objectively and that you're right objectively. Because otherwise, while you're out there taking your victory lap, they're going to be sitting there going, what the hell's that idiot doing? You don't win because you think you win. You win because all sides acknowledge that you did.
So never bring the word faith in it. The only time you bring faith in it is when the guy wants to go to theology. If you want to go into the Bible, we'll talk about faith. But for now, you're going to match him with evidence with evidence.
But you have to have evidence first, something that, whether you like it or not, you simply do not have. This is why virtually all religious debates fall apart completely, because the religious pretend to have something they do not, and the non-religious are not swayed by it. Personal subjective anecdotes are not evidence. Books of ancient mythology are not evidence. Half-assed philosophical claims are not evidence. The only thing that is going to convince me that there's a God is direct, demonstrable, objectively verifiable evidence that can be examined by all without having to believe in it first. And if you can't do that, then you've lost the debate, because nothing less will convince me that you're right.
Logic with logic, reasoning with reasoning, and after that, your job is done.
You make it sound like your side has been doing any of that. All we're getting is empty claims with empty claims, fallacies with fallacies, rationalization with rationalization, wishful thinking with wishful thinking. You've never even approached logic or reason. It's like you don't even know what those things are.
If she or she believes you or not, don't worry about it. You've defended your faith. You stood your grounds.
You haven't defended your faith. You've rationalized your way around the irrationality of your faith. You've convinced yourself to continue believing a lie. You've pretended that you won a debate that you haven't even intellectually engaged in. And you wonder why the non-religious think you're a fool.
Your job is done. And move ahead.
Your job isn't done, or maybe you're just unclear on what your job actually is, because you're the one making these videos about debating atheists, about defeating the atheist brigade, while not having the slightest idea how to do so. You don't win until you can back up your side in some way that the opposition will accept, and you aren't even close to that.
Never bring faith in discussion with the atheist brigade.
Because you will be totally demolished. Even if you don't use the word, that's still all you've got. And if that's all you've got, then you lose. This can't be that difficult to understand.
Because as soon as you bring the word faith, you open yourself to all kinds of questions.
Yes, you do. Too bad you have no answers.
Thanks for watching. I am Coach Martin for Evidential University. Please subscribe to our channel. Leave your discussions below, and I'll see you next time. See you.
Aw, there's nothing new and bizarre from YouTube's terrible subtitles. But anyhow, this is what I really don't get about the religious. That they keep demanding that they have good reasons to believe, but they can't actually present any. They keep pretending that their beliefs are rational, but they can't actually prove it. And then they get advice like this, that when debating an atheist, hide what really convinces them that their beliefs are true, so that they aren't relentlessly attacked for the ridiculous faith that they hold when they actually have nothing else. I might not say if they had anything worthwhile to present, but when their core position, the one thing that everything else in their pantheon of beliefs relies on, is completely and totally held on emotionally comforting blind faith, the whole house of cards falls apart because that's the only thing I care about them proving, and they have no means whatsoever to prove it. If you can't prove it, then nothing else matters. The Bible doesn't matter. It's just a book of claims, not a book of evidence. You have to prove the things in the Bible actually happened, and when it comes to the supernatural, it can't be done. So that just gets thrown out. All of the claims behind Christianity come down to whether or not God actually exists. Nothing else that Christians have to say matters until that one single claim can be validated. And that's the claim they don't want to talk about because it's the claim they know can't be proven. They've defined their God that way on purpose because they know somewhere deep down inside that it's a ridiculous claim. But it feels good, and to them, that's all they care about. And that's why they lose to the atheist brigade so badly all the time.